Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're here at Enclave at Deanwood, new construction community just outside of Deanwood, DC.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And so wanted to ask you a few questions for potential buyers that are out there, people that are considering the community, or just really just people who are considering buying new in general. I know you've worked with probably hundreds of builders, it seems like, with all the buyers you've helped, new construction, and I'm sure you got a variety of quality throughout that. And I'm just curious to hear a little bit of your feedback and your experience having worked here at Enclave at Deanwood with Nest-Twig in particular, and how that's kind of compared with past opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So incredible experience with Nest-Twig and the Enclave at Deanwood. I think a few things come to mind is number one, the quality of work. So obviously, as you can see here, they do an incredible job at quality and they don't rush anything. So that is super, super important. I've seen, we've worked with hundreds of clients and a lot of new construction, and we've seen quality of work being rushed, and then the customer gets into the home and then they have issues post-closing. We have had none of those issues with the Enclave at Deanwood, and nothing but happy clients, which is our number one goal. Of course, working with clients that are buying new construction is if they are going to buy new, they want to make sure they get into the home and everything is perfect. So communication, their ability to work with them, if there are problems or there are some sort of things that the buyers want, they have been able to make those adjustments, and then just the quality has been 5-star from start to finish.
Yeah, I'll tell you to piggyback on that. So we've helped work with a lot of builders, my real estate team as well. And I'll tell you that usually when we're doing final walkthroughs, houses blue taped up, there's a bunch of things we need to fix at the last minute, and we don't really see that here. I mean, Nest-Twig has been phenomenal with getting these houses buttoned up tight before that even final walkthrough. And then the post-closing things, like everyone's happy with their house. We're not having things that are coming up after the fact. So it really speaks to the level of effort and the attention to detail they come through with building their houses. So,
and I think the last thing is their set of expectations with the customer. They aren't pushing delays months and months and months and months out. They set expectations, and so that makes our clients comfortable with those expectations of what's going to be delivered. And to your point, I actually had one last week that went through a walkthrough on another builder and final inspection, and they are probably not going to be closing based on the quality of what happened that was not promised. So that's a huge thing for new construction, that we have no issues at the Enclave at Deanwood, and Nest-Twig has done a fantastic job, and they take pride in that.
Yeah, absolutely do. I'll tell you, the builder is one line he tells me all the time. He wants to build a house that he's comfortable living in. So it really speaks a lot to what he brings to the table when he's building these homes. Shifting gears a little bit. So, buying new is definitely a little bit different than buying a resale, older home. And I'm just curious, what should buyers, why is it important to have an experienced lender when you're buying a new construction home?
Absolutely. So you want to work with a lender that specializes in new construction. So purchasing homes, there's all types of financing programs. There's all types of homes that you can purchase. Resale is one breed of property, and then new construction is another. It's a niche product that you want to work with a lender who has gone through 50 to 100 transactions on new construction, who has seen the problems that can mitigate them before they even happen, right? On, oh, hey, we're going to be settling on this date. When's the lock going to expire? That's a big, big deal for most clients is, hey, I want to, especially while interest rates are increasing, I want to make sure that I can secure my lock and get a long-term rate lock and make sure that there's not going to be additional charges and the lock isn't going to expire and I'm going to incur those costs. Also on potential closing costs, monthly payment, taxes are a little bit different because we don't have a home in place right now, so we can't go to the county website and say, hey, here's going to be the property taxes for the property. So it has to be an estimation. So under promise and over deliver is our kind of number one with financing with new construction. Is you want to set that expectation, and if you tell the client, hey, monthly payment's going to be X and Y, and it comes in a little bit less 5 days or 3 days before closing, then we have happy clients. And so that's something that an experienced lender knows up front and is going to prepare for versus somebody who's doing resale or who has maybe done one or two new construction properties.
Yeah, I can speak to that personally. I know that when you're buying new, oftentimes people forget that some of those things are a little different and they don't take those into account. They think the lender is basically quote out a home like it's a resale home, not taking those into account, and then leads to unhappy surprises down the road, which obviously we're all trying to avoid. Let me ask you a little bit, creative financing. What are you guys doing these days for, buyers that maybe need a little bit of more creative thinking to solve their problems?
Yeah, absolutely. That is our number one kind of thing that we hang our hat on is creative financing, and I think being mortgage advisors, right? Everybody's nervous about going through the pre-approval process to get their credit pulled. You do not need that. You can speak to a lender like myself and our team and have a consultation that's going to advise you on, hey, maybe we do need a credit repair plan. Maybe we do need a savings plan. And we have those solutions for you, not just a, hey, you don't qualify and, call me in 6 months. So, most people, it's either one or two things. It's maybe credit, and we do credit repair for free. We've done credit repair for clients that have purchased at the Enclave in Deanwood and saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest, money at the table, and actually help them qualify. So I think that's the number one thing is, don't disqualify yourself before you speak with a professional like yourself or me. Make sure that you're talking with someone who has the expertise in advisory and has done new construction before that can help you with creative financing. And then the other part of it is, is it monthly payment or cash to close, right? Is it, hey, the monthly payment's too high, but I have the cash? Well, hey, maybe we can utilize some of the cash that you have to exclude some of your monthly debts that have a higher interest rate than the mortgage, right? And then additional loan products that have come out recently have really, really helped our buyers through, rising interest rates to help qualify for some of those increased monthly payments or unexpected cash out of pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, one of the things you hit on the nail on is don't disqualify yourself, right?
Yep.
A lot of times, not every buyer is going to be able to have the 20% down payment, right, and the 800 credit score, and that doesn't mean you can't buy a home.
Yeah.
It just means you need to be maybe a little more creative and working a package that makes sense for them.
Totally.
Right. Yeah, and expectation setting, I think, is another big thing, which I think you do an exceptional job at. We don't have issues later down the line where buyers are surprised on, what their monthly payment's going to be, what their interest rate's going to look like. Those things are discussed early on, so they can make an informed decision on what's the best path to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for some people, maybe it might not make sense to put 20% down. It might make sense to put 10% down and utilize that cash in an alternative way. So speaking on creative financing, the biggest thing too right now is for loan product is the 2-1 buy down. So utilizing cash to buy down your interest rate. We just did one recently with a property here, and it saved the client $800 per month in interest for the first year, $530 a month in interest for the second year, with the hopes that at some point, throughout the next 9 to 18 months, interest rates are going to normalize and get back to the 4 to 5%. We're going to be able to fix in that interest rate. So that, that took that person from I don't qualify, the monthly payment's too high, to where saving $800 a month makes it possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you mentioned something actually just a second ago regarding, you don't need all your documentation from day one, but now when a buyer is ready to speak to you, what should they be prepared to bring to that conversation with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So initial call, is it just a consultation? What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? Are you renting? Do you have a house currently that we want to sell, or we're looking to keep it and have an investment property? So that's number one is on the consultation call is you don't need any documents and you're not going to get your credit pulled. So that's number one. And then number two is once you actually go and complete the application, we're going to qualify you and determine capacity to purchase based on your income, assets, and liabilities. So we need qualification we need qualifying documentation for your income, whether that's you're salaried and we need W-2s and pay stubs, or creative financing comes into play when we have our self-employed folks who, we need tax returns, K-1s, and 1099s to qualify their income. So first is income documentation, and then second is assets. So the cash that you're going to bring to the table, whether that's in down payment assistance, whether that's out of checking and savings, whether that's gift from family member, mom, dad, 401k, retirement, investment accounts. We're seeing a lot of people do that right now when your stock portfolios are not doing as well as your money in real estate. And we need the last 2 months statements for those accounts that you're going to be using for cash to close. So we made it as easy as possible right now to get pre-approved once you've decided that that's the next step. And we actually have account check right now, so we can link your bank statements to your or your bank account to your application and just verify your assets without paper and email documentation, and then day one certainty with the work number can verify your pay stubs and your W-2s. So we've had clients apply here that we didn't need any documentation from them. It's just completing the application and taking a verification step, which
Awesome.
makes it easy.
Well, I think the key there is that, yes, eventually they'll need some additional information to get the pre-approval, right? But that first phone call, it can just be a phone call, right?
Totally.
And once they're ready to be pre-approved, we've seen buyers, I've seen you pre-approve buyers in less than 24 hours. So the buyers that have their information, things can happen quickly.
Yep.
But that phone call should not be a roadblock to at least investigating, is this maybe makes sense for them?
Yeah, and it's free, right? So, it's
No commitment.
No commitment, free advisory for that consultation. And even if you're looking in, we've talked about this before, 6 months, a year, it's always good. Get that pre-approval up front because you never know, you could be in a better financial situation than you thought.
Absolutely. The last question for you. I hear you have some incentives going on right now. What should buyers know about that?
Absolutely. So we've increased incentives here to get these last couple homes sold. So we're offering $6,500 in a lender credit for you to either utilize that however you want to get into this house. So, with the creative financing, we can use that to drop your cash to close, drop your monthly payment, pay off your debts, to get you into these properties before the end of the year, beginning of the year. We are offering those incentives along with the builder incentives.
Yeah,
as well.
well, that's on top of the $5,000 builder credit we're already talking about. So that's a total of $11,500 in credits. Huge for buyers that are looking to reduce their interest rates if that's important to them, or just reducing their cash out of pocket, using that credit however they like. But really big incentive that people can take advantage of here at the end of this year.
Absolutely. And we put together, you and I, a side-by-side comparison of what you can do with those incentives. So whether you want to have it affect your monthly payment or your cash to close, to look at the differences and see what works best.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you coming out.
Awesome. I appreciate it, brother.
Take care.